Welcome to The Checkpoint. You know us from Video Game Book Club. I'm your host, JP, and this is Ben, the Tisseless Toops. And, you know, The Checkpoint is the show between the show, where we check in on our Video Game Book Club progress, and we also talk about everything and anything in the video game industry. But first, Ben, I had something truly devastating happen to me this morning.
Oh, no.
Every morning, I wake up, I go to the fridge, and I grab a little bit of yogurt. I'm a yogurt boy. And, you know, yogurt, a little bit of granola, a little bit of fruit. And I opened my little yogurt, and the consistency seemed off. It didn't look good at all. But I was like, I just bought it, you know, so it's like whatever. And so I poured it in my little plate, poured my little granola, poured my little, banana in there. And then I flipped over the cup of yogurt, and it expired 3 weeks ago. Expired 3 weeks ago. But Ben, I just bought it 3 days ago. I just went to the store, bought like 5 of them. All of them have been expired for like scammed, 3 weeks. And I think I got scammed, and I'm really sad that I didn't have yogurt today. So I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah, that might throw the entire episode off. This is a disaster.
Just like a supreme athlete that like eats the same thing before every match, I do the same breakfast routine before every podcast recording, and I think I'm completely thrown off now. I'm so sorry.
We're cooked. If this is a bad episode, that's what we're gonna blame.
Yeah, just blame it on the yogurt, and I should probably go and tell them to give me 5 different yogurts that are not expired. Actually, you know what's not expired though, Ben? Great transition, by the way, by me. Hellblade Sennua Sacrifice, the game of the month for July. And I just have so many questions about it because I've played so much of it. Ben, how is it going for you?
It's going good for me. I played it a little. I've played maybe about a third of the game. It's a pretty short game. It's like less than 10 hours. And I've played maybe like 3 or so, maybe a little less. I got past... The way it seems like it's set up is that there's 2 major bosses you have to beat before proceeding to like the final act of the game.
Okay.
And I've beaten one of the 2 bosses, so I'm like maybe a third of the way done.
Now I know this.
How far are you, Jake?
I have a question. I know this because I've been playing it. But what's the game about?
Oh, yeah?
What's the game about? I know this, but for the viewers,
Yeah, so it's about this like kind of Nordic Viking girl who is woman is probably a better term, who is like there's not a lot of like backstory. The game starts, you wake up and you're like walking through this like desolate swamp landscape, and the whole time you're walking there's all of these voices in your head, so you have to play this game with a headset, because if it does it literally feels like you're surrounded by these like disembodied voices, and it's really creepy. I played this game for the first time like late at night a couple days ago. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I had been drinking a little bit of wine. So I was drinking a little wine and I start playing this game, and all of this, like, first of all, the game launches, and one of the first credits you see when the game launches is the credit for the mental health advisor. And there's like a big boilerplate when you launch the game that says like, this game contains depictions of psychosis that are like in line with that reported by like survivors, basically.
Oh my God.
So I read that and I saw the credit and I was like, I don't know what I'm in for right now. Like, this might be crazy. And it's crazy. It's like, it's mostly a puzzle game. It's mostly a puzzle game with all of these like, trippy, psychosis-like elements. Like, the visuals are always shifting. There's always noises coming from all over the place. It's really creepy. And that's what I was expecting. I was expecting the puzzle nature of it. Yeah. But there's also like a combat nature to it, which I wasn't expecting, because I didn't know a lot about the game going into it. But the combat's a lot of fun. I actually really enjoyed it. So that was kind of a something that surprised me in like a good way going into it. But yeah, so I've played a little bit of it, and I'm definitely gonna play some more soon and finish it up.
I am excited to start playing Hellblade Sennua Sacrifice. Yes, if you couldn't tell, Even though I know so much about this game, I have not started. But
If
I will.
if you're in the video game book club Discord, which you should join if you're not, you know that JP's not beating the allegations right now.
I'm really not. I have this. There's two like kind of like little like rumors that I have about me. One
Rumors.
that I can't read or that I don't read, which is fake news. I read, okay, guys, and I know how to read, even though English is my second language. And two, that I always finish games the day before the month is over, and that one, I gotta put my hands up and say, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
When they tell me, hey, this game is short, I say, oh, okay. That means that I can play it like a week before Video Game Book Club is done, because I can do that. But
Yeah.
I promise, I will start playing it soon. And I'm excited to have this conversation, though, in 2 weeks' time. And by then, I'll have 100% of the game, and I'm very pumped for it. But a game that we have been playing, Ben, is a little game that came out of nowhere, to me at least, called Peak.
Yeah.
And Peak has been really, really fun.
Yeah. So Peak is one of these. I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably familiar with it. It's been kind of everywhere for the past couple weeks, but it's just one of these like very socially motivated games where it's similar to a lot of other stuff that's come out recently. But in this game, you play as this like troop of Boy Scouts that's trying to hike their way. They've crash landed on an island, and they're trying to hike their way to the top of the mountain to send out a signal that they're there or whatever.
Have you made it all the way up there?
I have. I've beaten it a couple times.
This guy's so good.
Yeah, I mean, come on. But the gameplay mechanics, I feel like this is, and maybe we can have a bigger conversation about like this type of games, but I feel like what makes these types of games, these like social friend driven games, is how simple the mechanics are, the potential for like funny things to happen while you're playing them. So like one of the big mechanics in this game is they do proximity audio. So like if you're playing and you have your microphone, your voice gets broadcast to everyone in the game, but it's dependent on how close you are to each other. And so like if if one person's on top of a cliff and the other person's at the bottom, they sound like super far away and echoey. But some of the funnier moments, and we streamed this game with a couple people from the Discord a couple days ago, and the funniest moments by far are when people are trying to climb up something, they lose their grip, and then they fall all the way down the mountain, and you can just hear them screaming, and like the screams getting quieter and quieter as they fall. So, but yeah, I feel like this like friend game genre really thrives kind of with those kind of core simple mechanics with like really funny kind of potential.
It's such a clippable game, and it just makes it so that it can go viral. Your favorite VTubers or whatever are playing them, and then they have really, really funny moments. The cool thing about Peak is that like you can play by yourself. You can climb the mountain without any help, but if you play with people, they can help you, and they can help you by like hanging out at the ledge of the mountain or whatever little ledge that you're trying to climb, and then you can hold out your hand, and then you can pull your friends up. So there's a lot of like betrayal that can happen in Peak, and it just makes it really funny. Like the other day when we were playing, I had this like, I just wanted to like be zen, find the easiest route up the mountain, take my time, and just have fun, And so me and a friend, like we broke off from Ben and another friend, and they were being like maniacs. They were running around like, I can definitely make that jump, bro. I can definitely like climb that thing. It's gonna be super easy. Just watch me. And then they would not be able to do that. It has a little bit of the like Breath of the Wild aspect of it. When you first
very
play,
similar.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Everything is climbable. It's like the first game that we've gotten. Even though the game released 8 years ago, that truly everything was climbable, and you can put Link anywhere, and your stamina starts depleting as you keep climbing, and you say, okay, I'm going to come back when I have more stamina because I know that there's something up there. A lot of the times there would be something up there. A lot of the times nothing was up there, but it was just fun to be able to do that. And you just kind of get the same, like, piece of candy feeling whenever you play Peak. You know, you see all these different routes that you can potentially take to climb the mountain in each biome, and you think to yourself, oh, I can definitely make that. I can definitely make that. And most often than not, you can't, and you fall, and then it gets harder and harder because your stamina gets smaller and smaller as you keep falling and losing health, or as you keep getting hungry. You can feed people in Peak too, which I found hilarious because I didn't know how to play when we streamed this a couple days ago. Everyone in the group had played except me, so I was like, oh man, I have some hunger right now. I should probably pick up a fruit. And they were like, oh yeah, eat that one. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And then I would eat it, and then I would get poisoned instead. Or, you know, you can force feed fruit to people, and when that happens, it's hilarious. So honestly, I'm super enjoying Peak, and it's a game that we definitely have to stream a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. So give me your opinion on this, like, you know, genre of these kind of socially co-op games. Like, I feel like there's been so many over the past like year in particular, whether it's like Lethal Company or now Peak. There's so many of these games that have similar like mechanics and kind of gameplay loops, and they're motivated by the same things, that like friendship co-op aspect and, you know, the funny clippable moments. What is your opinion on this genre? Because I feel like I've heard people kind of go both ways on it.
So I like it, and I think not my opinion of it, but like how it came about, I think it's a more like interesting conversation. Obviously, we all know what happened 5 years ago with COVID. And before that, companies and developers were making games so that you would go over to a friend's house and play them. And a lot of these games were like so good at making that happen, where I would go over to Benny's house, and we would boot up some sort of like tower climbing game, and we would just play it together, split screen, and we would have so much fun. But then COVID hit. A lot of people are playing games by themselves, or they're playing online games, and you know, there's a little bit of like a fatigue from like, oh, you know, the latest battle royale, or oh, the latest like, you know, CS:GO copy clone or whatever. And I think there's this wave of very innovative, unique, and creative games that feel like you're playing with someone close to you. Of course, the proximity chat has so much to do with that, and it's so fun to kind of have that connection from your house with a friend that lives across the country, like Ben and I. And I think that's why people like it. And of course, what's what we look for when we play a game together? When you play Mario Party, sure, the board game aspect of it is really funny and fun, and you can like try to figure out how you can get the most amount of stars. But really, the moment that is the best and what you're going to remember from that night is those mini games, those 30-second like bursts of like I don't know, dopamine to your brain, where like you completely demolish your friend, or you like betray them if you're playing 2v2, or you're playing 1v3 and you like beat that mini game and you win and it feels so good. I think they're trying to capture those like really, really small moments in games, but that give you the most rewards in these games like Repo and like Lethal Company and Peak, or maybe even Overcooked if you play that like with your partner or your friends or family or something.
Yeah. I'll say I feel like I had a change of heart about this type of game, because I feel like, yeah, you mentioned kind of the fatigue aspect of it, and I had just seen so many of these games come out, and they were all so similar with the, you know, they all did the proximity chat. They all did, you know, simple gameplay mechanics with like, you know, maybe goofy looking characters. Like, it was all so similar. And I was just watching them come out one after the other, and I was like, it just seems a little lazy to like be making this type of game right now. But then I played it. Like, I played Peak. Peak was the first one of these games that I've played, and I immediately got it. Like, the everyone's doing proximity chat because of how well it works, because of like how immersive it makes it feel for you, and how much it connects you to the other players to like have an almost physical representation of like the audio like that. So yeah, I definitely feel like I had a change of heart because of Peak and like because of playing it. And, you know, I've seen people refer to this genre of games as friend slop. just because it's like there's so many of them and they're so similar. But yeah, I think I'm converted. I think I changed my mind.
We're social creatures, you know. We love that kind of connection that we can have with each other when we play these types of games. And this thought just popped in my head. I went skiing in April this year, and I had a friend who was with us that was skiing with us. He's kind of like a veteran skier. You know, he's really good, and he was going all around the mountain, and he was wearing this headset while skiing. It wasn't like a headset, but like, you know, some AirPods or whatever. And he was on a Discord like server with the people in the mountain that had proximity chat while skiing.
What?
So he would ski, and if someone was skiing right by him, or maybe like a slope over, and they would fall and he was close enough, he could hear them, and they would like yell, "Oh God, oh my leg, you know, I fell." And he would be laughing, and so he would be skiing and laughing. And it's like they grabbed that from all of these games, you know, like the proximity chat of games is like kind of happening IRL now, because we love it, because it's funny, because we're social creatures, because we want that connection, and because you can turn around to your friends and say, "Oh my God, someone from the other route next door to us just fell, and it was really hilarious. You know, listen to this," or whatever, and play
That's like the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Dude, I know.
That's wild.
When he told me that, I was like, can I buy one now, actually? But I don't ski that much, so I don't know if I'm going to do it. But can you imagine if we had that, like when we play tennis, like if someone next to us playing tennis? Actually, you don't need to, because we would yell so much when we were.
You just hear each other screaming.
You do just hear each other scream. But no, it's a good conversation about games like that, and the more they keep coming out, just like you, the more I've been playing them, and obviously now having like a community as VGBC is, it's been really, really fun to try to get those games like, you know, coming and playing and playing.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
I like it. Ben, I need to tell you something.
Okay.
Welcome to Mini Video Game Book Club. The mini show where I mini pick, mini play, and mini discuss a mini video game each and every mini month. I'm your host, Mini JP, and this is Mini Benjamin, the Tizzlist Tubes.
The mini Tizzlist, actually.
The mini Tizzlist Tubes. So for the month of July, I played a small game, as I think we've been doing, or I've been doing for the last couple months for the Checkpoint, called Before Your Eyes, which is a game that was recommended on the Discord exactly for Mini Video Game Book Club. And Ben, Before Your Eyes was a incredible experience that I just had. It is a really, really short game that you can play and should play in one sitting. It takes literally about 80 minutes to 90 minutes. It's kind of like a movie. If you equate that to being able to sit down for a 90-minute movie, it's the same thing. And honestly, the experience that you get from playing Before Your Eyes is similar to a really cathartic movie. Do you know anything about the game before I get started?
I know only what I've seen people in the Discord talk about, because I think a few people have played this, including you at this point. I've picked up like just a couple things, like somebody mentioned the blinking mechanic. Apparently something is to do with your blinking, so I'm excited to hear about that. But yeah, for the most part, I know nothing about it.
The blinking mechanic is something that when I read it, I was like, okay, I might not play this game, just because I was kind of like weirded out by it. But yeah, weird. So Before Your Eyes is a short like narrative game where you control, or your main control mechanic is blinking. There's no other input in the game, not like, you know, pressing A or pressing enter, pressing the space bar or the space key or whatever. No, the game is controlled by your eyes, by blinking. And and also your mouse. You move around. You like look around with your mouse, and that's it. You play with one hand and then you blink. And so the game asks you, "Hey, are you okay with using the camera?" You can say yes, and then it states pretty clearly, "We are not using any like footage. We're not recording you. Like, you know, definitely we're not doing any of that. It's just blinking." Sure. So if you want to try it, please do. I'm about to talk about the game. I think going into it blind is probably the best experience that you'll have. So I'm sorry that I'm spoiling it for you, Benny. But if you're listening and you have played the game, cool. But if you haven't played it and you really want to experience it, maybe like skip the next 5 minutes or so. So the game starts you off in the afterlife or like in limbo, which is funny because I feel like in Video Game Book Club this has happened quite a bit recently. We play these like very existential games, and you are fished out of like limbo in like a lake or so by the fisherman or the ferryman actually. And the ferryman's like, bingo, bro. I got one of the best souls there is, and I'm super excited to bring this soul to, like, you know, the guardian, the god or whatever. And then the god will judge you. And then if you haven't told lies about what your life was like and you're a good soul, then he'll bring you to the afterlife and all will be good. Will be good. I'm like, cool.
Love it.
But I don't really remember my life, you know, obviously, because I just started the game. I don't really know who I am. So he's like, okay, you're about to have to recount your life. And I'm going to be able to put you in the memories that you have from your life. But every time you blink, the memory will end and you'll fast forward to the next memory. So it is chronological. And he tells you, okay, every time you blink, I don't know if you're going to jump 5 seconds or 5 years. But there will be this chronological order and you're going to like lose some memories if you can't keep your eyes open for too long, which you can't. Especially me, I was playing this at like 2 a.m. I wear contacts, and by 2 a.m, if you wear contacts, those things are dry, bro. I was blinking so much, so I missed a lot of stuff, but I was trying my best to not blink as much. The cool thing, the exposition of the game that I really liked is that if you think about a memory right now, Ben, of when you were a kid, you can only really see what you were like looking at in that moment. For example, if you have a memory that you're at the beach and I don't know, maybe you think about your siblings or your parents or something, you don't know what's behind you because you don't remember, or you can fabricate it maybe, but like in your memory is just of what you were experiencing in that moment. And so the game does a really good job at showing that while you play, because when you are experiencing these memories, there's like a dark cloud around the things that you really didn't know were there. But there's like some scenes in your bedroom when you're a kid. And of course, if I ask you to picture your bedroom when you're a child, you can remember exactly where everything was, exactly what you had in your bedside table, exactly what you can look at out of your window. And so I love how intelligent they were about exposing what you knew about the world growing up with your memories if you knew exactly what you were seeing. So that was really cool.
Is it tracking like your, like, do you look around physically?
No. So mouse? That's mouse. Yeah. The only thing that
it's
tracking is you blinking. There's at the beginning of the game, just like when you play Guitar Hero, you have to calibrate your blinking to the camera. So you calibrate yourself a little bit. There's like a 30-second to 1 minute thing where you have to kind of do that, and then it's pretty seamless after that. I actually felt like it worked really, really good. Now, that's the impressive part of the game, was that I think that was really cool about just the gaming aspect of it. But the game itself, I don't want to spoil everything. I'm just going to talk a couple of things, and then I probably will do a video essay, so be on the lookout for that, because it was really, really touching. You basically experience your life as this child, and bro, his name is Benjamin. His name is Ben.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
I love him.
I love him too, dude. I love Ben so much. And basically, Ben grew up in a household of loving parents, but maybe a demanding mother, because she had all these dreams and aspirations for Ben. And Ben, would not want to do the things that his mom wanted him to do. For X or Y reason, it doesn't really matter. You're your own person, and your mom just had this like kind of dream that she had for herself that she may or may not have achieved, and so she kind of wants the same dream for you, and so she puts a lot of pressure on you based on like what she wants. I was reading a lot of stuff about like people like hating on the mom, and it's just like, she's just a human, like
yeah.
Other than that, Ben had a fantastic childhood, so like, sure, parents can be demanding, and we all may or may not have had that, but chill out, it's just a game.
Yeah, that's such a common experience, and it's life ruining.
And so the cool thing about it is that you're experiencing that, but Ben, it doesn't last long sometimes, because sometimes you gotta blink, and so you blink and then you go to the next thing, and you blink and now I'm 4 years old, then I blink and I'm 7 years old now, and I have my first piano recital, and so I'm like playing piano, which is what my mom wants me to do, and then you blink and you go to the next thing, but then you blink and then you go to a really dark memory, a memory that Ben does not want to remember. And no matter how long you keep your eyes open, the memory will not play. it just kind of stays like in limbo, and the music is kind of sinister, and you just kind of like, you can't keep going, so you say, okay, I'll just blink and we'll go to the next thing. You basically go through his whole life until he's an adult. Then you wake up to the ferryman telling you, why are you lying to me? And he gets really mad at you, and he says, do you think that God like will not know that you're lying? Pull it together, my man, because you are definitely lying to me, and the people who are liars here, they become something bad. And there's these birds flying around that like look really weird, and they like yell liar, liar, liar at you if you're like saying lies, either to you or the ferryman. And so you're thinking, man, maybe I'll become that bird. And so then you have to kind of recount your life to the ferryman, this time for real. And you have to go through those 3 or 4 really dark memories to actually understand what your life was like.
Yeah.
And Ben, by the end of it, I was devastated. I actually kind of want to cry now. I was crying. It was so beautiful, but it was so painful, and it was like such a tragedy of Ben's life. But he doesn't lie. You get to experience his life, how it actually was, and then God at the end, you know, obviously he likes that you didn't say any. God is a big cat too, which is really funny.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like it. and then the game ends, and that's it. That's the game. It's just an 80-minute like beautiful story about Ben and his life, and you get to experience his life through this video game by blinking. And it was really, really great, man. It was really, really great. I definitely recommend it to everyone. It is a little bit of a heart churner. You will be sad. I think it's probably good to play it with headphones. Play it at night, maybe, just like you would, you know, watching a movie in kind of like a Zen space, and kind of experience that. It's so good that I told Katie, that my wife, that she has to play it, and I want her to experience that, because she kind of likes those like tragic stories, you know, those sad stories. So yeah,
that somebody that sounds awesome. Like, I think I gotta play the game for sure. Someone in the Discord, Joe in the Discord, was saying that after he finished it, it made him want to like leave his house immediately and go pick his kids up from daycare and like hug them. And reading that, I was like, man, like this game is not playing around. So yeah, I got to play the game. I have to.
I went to hug my cats immediately. I don't have any kids, so and my wife was sleeping, so I went to hug my cats, and I was like, one thing, obviously the most obvious thing about this game, which, you know, again, I'll probably talk more about it in like a video that I'm gonna release for one of the games, so keep an eye out, is what is it trying to tell you with the blinking thing? It's on your face. Life is like a blink of an eye. It escapes you that quickly, and the memories that you want to hold on to so dearly, and the moment to moment things that you experience in your life that you're saying like, oh, the good old days. No, the good old days are right now. Right now is the good old days. So don't be on your phone all the time. Like, go hug your mom, go call your grandma, and like hang out with your friends and family as much as you can, because before you know it, they'll just be a memory, and when you blink, they'll be gone. So that's obviously at face value, that's what the game wants to tell you, but there's a million more layers to that. So yeah,
love it. Well, I can, I don't have anything, super impactful to share. The only thing I've been playing outside of Senua's Sacrifice is still just Elden Ring Nightreign. I've been playing so much of that game, and it's been crazy because as you the game came out maybe a little over a month ago at this point. So tons of people were playing it. Everyone's online. Everyone, if you don't have a group of people to play with, there's always people to find matches with. And when it first started, I was playing a lot with people we know. Like, I played with some people from the Discord. Mm-hmm. I played with people I know from other stuff. You and I played, once or twice. But as time went on, like there's like a story progression to Nightreign, which is really interesting for kind of a kind of Fortnite-y type game, like it is. It's such a crazy genre, but it's really interesting that it has that like kind of story progression, and there is like an end of the game. There's like a final boss, a final cutscene, like all of this stuff. And I was having so much fun because I just love Souls games in general. And it's such a fun game to play. I was like, I need to finish this game. So for the past couple weeks, I've been, as time has gone on, player count has probably dropped a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, people, not as many of like my friends have been playing or anything like that. So I've been playing with like randoms, like,
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
in a game like that, like it's hard to explain because there's such complex mechanics required, and as you get to the harder and harder bosses, successfully beating them requires like such a high level of play and like such planning that
You're a real gamer, Benny. You're
I
a real
get
gamer.
into these matches with people, and there's no communication in the game at all. The only way you can communicate is by like pinging points on the map. And so I'll get into this game with like, two random people, and we're doing like, the easy encounters like you do at the beginning of a run. And then one of them pings like a crazy hard area that you're not supposed to go to until much later in the run. And I'm sitting at my desk screaming, no, no, do not go there. Do not go there. And I'm like pinging like crazy on my map, trying to like, no, go to this place. Don't go there. Go to this place. And of course they, both of the other people run to the hard place, die immediately, and like the whole run is shot. So it has been an uphill battle, but I finished Nightreign.
Let's go.
It is such a fun game. I'm interested to see what they'll do after that like core gameplay loop, because there's basically the set of bosses that you have to complete to beat the game. And beyond that, they've been doing like kind of a rotating weekly like enhanced bosses. Like they'll take one of the normal bosses and like add a third phase to it or something like that. And those have been really fun. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing Nightreign. It's such an awesome game, such a unique game. And I'm excited to see, maybe some DLC, maybe some more bosses, stuff like that. I'm down.
If you played like the first like round of it or the first level of it 10 times, how many times you would win?
The first one?
Yeah.
It's a hard question because there is like the roguelike mechanics, but they're not that strong. Like the roguelike mechanics, and I think we talked about this on the last episode of the Checkpoint, but they're not to the point where they like it's not like Hades. It's not like something like that where you get significantly stronger throughout the course of
you also just get better at the game too,
Yeah, and I'd say that's probably where the majority of like the improvement comes from, because you do get like, the little charms that have like a meaningful impact on the game, but it's not to a point like you don't just auto win run one. Like I could easily play the first boss and wipe to it. Like it's just a hard game. Like it genuinely is. And it gets harder and harder as it goes. So yeah,
I said that because I thought maybe like if you added difficulty modifiers, i.e. Ascension stuff, like would that make the game a little bit more replayable after you beat it?
If they added stuff like that, it would. I think that's kind of what they're doing with like the rotating. They call it Everdark versions of the bosses. I think that's kind of what they're doing. They're just like giving you more stuff to do, like harder versions of stuff you've already done. But dude, like the final boss is so hard. I can't even envision what like an ascension to that. They would have to add like much more meaningful roguelike progression if they did that, because it'd be insane. It'd be crazy.
Well, you heard it here. Bad Benny, the best Elden Ring player of all time.
No,
I mean,
absolutely
thank you for gracing us with your presence. I have one more question. When you boot up with these randos, how many times, or maybe percentage-wise, how much were you better than the other two randos?
I don't know if it's like how much better you are. I think it's in this game in particular. I think it's how well you know the game, because
you got strats, Ben.
Yeah, there really is. Like to successfully complete a run, you have to know how to like do areas in a way that like builds your momentum and levels you up to a point where you're going to have a good shot at the final boss. Like I did, it took me, probably 10 attempts to beat the final boss. And it's because like for one reason or another, we just like, despite our best efforts, we just like didn't get our level high enough by the end of the run to properly beat it. So yeah, having somebody in the game that like has a really good sense of what all the different things are and what order to do them in is like totally game changing. And I felt like, you know, towards the end of my time, I felt like I was able to be that person where I was like kind of the IGL, the in-game leader, calling like, all right, we're going here, we're going here, we're going here. But, you know, like I said, sometimes you get the wild cards that are like, nope, I'm going straight to the end game area. And I'm like, okay, well, this run's over. So.
Man, you gotta try. At least you gotta try.
Yeah.
It's so funny because you're like, I think you're like, do you think that you're the leader because there's no voice chat? Like, I wonder, like, if there was voice chat, would you be less of an IGL or more of an IGL? Because I feel like you're sometimes, you know, I know you very well, and you can be a little bit quiet sometimes, you know.
Honestly, I think you're right. Like, I don't, when I play games, I rarely use like voice functions in multiplayer games. Like, sometimes I do.
Sure.
But normally I don't. Normally, like, I'll maybe send some chat messages or like, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, honestly, if there were voice, I may not have like taken that role as much as I did normally. But, you know, in Nightreign, you just ping a location and everyone on your team runs to that location and you're like, yeah, I'm in charge.
Ben is the ping king, dude. The ping king. I like it.
Let's go.
I've been playing, so right now I haven't been playing Hellblade. You know, I finished Before Your Eyes in like one night, and I've been playing Chrono Trigger actually. I was talking to people on the Discord, and like, I like JRPGs. We obviously played Expedition 33 last month. And I like turn-based games. I like JRPGs. And Chrono Trigger, as everyone knows probably, is one of the most like classic, you know, best JRPGs to ever exist. And I think that it would make me better as like a, you know, I guess a so-called reviewer of games now if I played that like classic game. And so talking to some people on the Discord about like what the best way to play it is, I've been playing it on my Steam Deck on the PC port. Man, I love it. I'm having so much fun with it. I can totally see why it's a classic. It starts out like crazy. It's like a oh my god, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a time traveling RPG basically, which I didn't even know about. Honestly, I didn't know anything about it. All I knew is Akira Toriyama, the Dragon Ball Z creator and designer. He helps with the Dragon Quest games, you know, and the Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross or whatever. Like, he designed all those characters, and so I was like, you know, he looks like Goku. I want to play him. That sounds really fun. And yeah, it's been great. So not a lot to say about it. I'm like 6 hours in or so. It probably is like a 30-hour game if I had to guess. But I've been enjoying it a ton. But something that we were talking about in the Discord was the Steam summer sale, and I am a sucker for Steam summer sales. I got like 12 games for like $40. I always try to get like the most bang for your buck, even though sometimes I don't ever get to play those games. I think you sent out a meme, you know, about people that are just like me who buy a bunch of games and they don't play them. But actually,
just like all of us.
Just like all of us. But with VGBC, I have been playing a lot of the games that I buy, especially with the mini VGBC series that I've been going on recently. But I just wanted to like talk a little bit about the games that I copped. Ben told me that I had to play Death Stranding, and it was on sale for like nothing, for like $5 or something, for like a, you know, AAA monster. So
insane value.
So I got that one. I got Rollerdrome. That's one that I've been like eyeing for a while, and it finally got to like 50% sale, or maybe a little bit more than that. And it's like a, you know, I love the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. And I like anything like skateboardy or like fun like that. I really like. There's a game that came out a couple years ago. It's called Ollie Ollie World. It's like in the Ollie Ollie series, which is like a 2D platforming skating game, and I fucking loved it so much that it was so much fun. So I'm super into those types of games. And Rollerdrome is basically like a third-person shooter with skating or roller skating. And so you're just like blasting people and also doing like backflips and tricks and stuff. So that's, I can't wait to play that. That's crazy. And yeah, I got a bunch of small games for mini VGBC, including Before Your Eyes, and I got Celeste too, because that's like another classic game that I should probably play.
Yeah. Agreed. For the Steam Summer Sale, I got nothing. Dude.
Nothing.
Normally I
Benjamin.
pick up a couple things, but I don't know. I had my eye on one game, and that's Ghost of Tsushima, because it came out initially as a console exclusive.
Do you
They
have a
finally
PS5?
ported it. No, 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 I
Okay.
don't. It finally came out on PC, I think maybe like a year ago at this point, maybe a little more. And yeah, so like I didn't play it on release. And then by the time it came out on PC, it's like a game I want to play, but it's just like, I don't know, I didn't have the same motivation to like grab it and try it. But I
Yeah.
know it's there. I know it's a great game. And I know it's the type of game I would enjoy. So when the Steam Summer Sale started, I booted up Steam. I went straight to the Ghost of Tsushima page, and it was like $5 off its normal price. It was
Oh
still
my
like
god.
$45, and I
Yeah.
was like, I don't really want to buy that right now. Like that's crazy to me that it's not. It's like I don't know how old it is. At least like 5 years, right? Maybe four.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
maybe
it was
four.
crazy to me
Yeah,
that
five.
it was still that expensive. But I'll
Yeah.
probably buy it at some point, and I'll play it at some point because in gaming news, the
Ooh.
sequel has just been announced, Ghost of Yote. So I haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, but I know you have. So tell
Yeah.
me, what did you think about that announcement?
Ghost of Tsushima or Ghost of Yote?
Yote, the
Oh,
announcement
Yote,
of the
bro! I'm
sequel.
trying to keep blind. I love not knowing anything about games and just experiencing them. So I have played and really, really like Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm pumped for Ghost of Yote, dude. Give me more of that stuff. But again, I know that a trailer was released. I think someone linked it on the VGBC, and I didn't even click it. I was like, I don't want to know. As soon as the game comes out, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna like go crazy mode for it.
Yeah,
So to be honest, I feel like I'm a bad rep right now. I can't tell anything about
that's
GOY.
fair though.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about it is someone in the Discord said that I think there's like an alternate mode being added to it where
Oh
instead of the
yeah.
normal audio you can get like a soundtrack specifically designed by the guy that did the audio for like Samurai Champloo.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be this like crazy funky like somehow samurai music, so that sounds crazy to me, but it also sounds awesome. So
Yeah. No, super pumped for Ghost of Yote. I'm excited. I think when does that come out? Do you know? Let me pull it up super quick.
no, I don't know.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
soon.
didn't see.
It says October 2. October 2.
Wow, this year?
Yeah, dude, that's like in a couple
Dang.
months, 3 months.
Dang.
So hey, maybe be on the lookout for that for VGBC. We'll see. I think October
I gotta
probably we
I gotta
want to
buy
do
a PS5.
some horror. I was gonna say,
Is
dude, if you live by me, which I wish you did, I would just give you my PS5. I'm not even using it, and I have Ghost of Tsushima, so I would just give it to you and have you play it. You know, that's
you can ship it
unfortunate.
to me.
I'll
Yeah,
ship it
we'll,
to you.
we'll
I'll ship it to you. It'll
out.
get
No,
to you soon.
no.
I'm going to Cali in September. I'll just bring my PS5 in my suitcase, and you come grab it.
All right, cool. Sounds good.
Um, Speaking of games, Ben, which we have been doing this whole time, another piece of gaming news that is really really interesting is the Stop Killing Games movement. Do
Yeah.
you know anything about it? Do you want to tell us what that is?
I know a little bit about it. I think like a lot of people, this has kind of come on my radar in the past couple weeks, but I think it's been going for a little while now. And
Hmm.
so there's basically one guy that's been kind of championing this cause, this Stop Killing Games cause. And the thesis is this: over the past like decade or so, games have increasingly become live service, right?
Right.
If you remember in 2013 when the Xbox One came out and Microsoft announced that it's an always online console. You have to be logged in to play games on the Xbox One. People freaked out about that news. People were really upset about
Yeah.
that news if you remember when the Xbox One came out. And that was just that. I mean, that was the beginning. That was the tip of the iceberg, because over the past 12 years since then, basically every game has some sort, unless you're talking about smaller indie titles, although in some cases those do too.
Sure.
Basically every game has some sort of live service component to it, where there's weekly objectives, there's weekly rewards, there's, new quests that get added week to week. There's all this stuff. And with that stuff comes additional upkeep costs for the game developers because they need to host servers that people log into when they play. There's a continued development cost of the weekly stuff. There's all this stuff. And so what's basically happened is that as this live service has taken over the industry, as soon as a game becomes unsuccessful or not worth continuing the development for, they pull the plug. Yeah. They pull the hypothetical Ethernet cord on the servers, and nobody can play the game. Yeah. And there's been some really notable examples of this recently, right? There was Concord this huge multiplayer game that was in development for years and years and years with all this money poured into it. It released. I think some people bought the game. I looked it up.
25,000 copies sold in the first day.
Okay, so 25,000 people on the first day bought the game, and literally a month later, it is not unplayable. And I don't mean that it's a bad playing experience.
Did they leave it up that long? Because I thought they pulled the rug in the first week or something like that.
Yeah, it was within a month. I don't know the exact timing, but literally unplayable. You cannot play it anymore. Gone, totally gone. So the Stop Killing Games initiative is basically a group of people that have come together and say, this is not working for us as consumers. You as game developers need to give us a way to continue playing these games after your support for them ends, because it's just like, we're buying these games, we're paying to own, and that's a whole nother conversation. We're paying to own these games, and you're just willy-nilly taking away our right to do that. So it's become like a legislative effort in Europe specifically. People are like contacting the lawmakers. There's 1.3 million people that have signed the Stop Killing Games initiative as of recording, which is crazy. And I think there's been I've seen some people online, a few loud voices in particular who I won't name, that have been very opposed to this. But to me, I think this is a justified reaction to the overwhelming nature of how live service things have become and how damaging that's been to a lot of games. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know what you think.
Yeah. I think it's a necessary movement to at least come to a conclusion about how these games should go, and how publishers and the consumers, how our nature as partners, not really, should go. If I'm the consumer and the publisher selling me something, how should that transaction go? How should that work? So I have a couple of thoughts. Obviously, I read a bunch, so a lot of these thoughts are not my own. It's just things that I kind of think that I agree with. I don't want to say that I'm a genius or something. There's a lot of good reads out there for y'all to make your own opinions too. But basically, this doesn't really happen for single player games, right? You buy a single player game, it's like buying a book. You can read that book as many times as you want. You can experience that single player game as many times as you want. Sure, some single player games have some sort of daily climb or daily thing that you can do, but in essence, you're buying the game for that single player experience, and so you can probably and should be able to experience that fully whenever you want, all the time. So that's a given. I think no one can argue with that. For games that are meant to be multiplayer games, and sometimes, unfortunately, some of these games, it's harder to kind of differentiate what the multiplayer aspect of it is.
Right.
It shouldn't be a purchase to me. It should be a subscription. If you are giving me a game that, or if you're selling a game that is meant to be only played online and will only be alive as long as the publishing company or the development company keeps the servers alive, then I shouldn't have to buy the game. I should only have to subscribe the game, and my subscription gives me access to that game for that month. So don't sell me a $60 game, then ask me to, then pull the rug whenever you want. No, give me a $5 subscription or whatever, or $10, and that includes the battle pass or whatever, since every game has battle passes now, and that subscription model would work a lot better. If at some point in the future the game like is losing so much money that like they can't keep the game alive, then maybe what can happen is you give like 6 months notice, anyone can play that game with that subscription, and at the end of the life then it's done, and you never felt like you purchased the game, you just gave them money to be able to access that game monthly. And I think that if the focus of Stop Killing Games achieves that, that would be a huge win for like the gaming industry. So you won't have those like really tough situations where you buy Concord or you buy whatever, like a third, or like Rocket League. Yes, you can play Rocket League by yourself, and you can probably play, like if Ben purchased Rocket League, I know it's free now, but when it wasn't free, Ben purchased Rocket League, I purchased Rocket League. Yes, we can get into a party together and play it, but really the game is meant to be played online. Now the game is free, but people buy the battle pass for $10 every season or whatever. And I don't know, if you're like on PS4 or PS5, you probably had to have your like PS Plus subscription ongoing for you to be able to access that game online. I don't know if that has changed or not, but it's super tricky, right? Like consoles also have that kind of subscription form for you to be able to play games online, which kind of sucks. But at some point they changed Rocket League from being like a $20 game to being a free game and basically a part of the quote unquote subscription model. And I just think that works a lot better.
Yeah, I think that's a totally fair point. And if it gets enough traction, maybe that's, the potential direction that some development studios would go. But yeah, I think as it is right now, it's so similar to like the planned obsolescence of like a lot of tech products where a company wants to sell you something that in the back of their mind they know isn't going to work 3 years from now, and so you're going to come back and you're going to buy the next thing from them. And so I think it's just I like the initiative, and I'm interested to see where it goes, and if anything comes of it. Definitely. The only other piece of big gaming news, and it's more drama, kind of similarly, but it's about Subnautica.
Yeah.
So if you've been anywhere around like the PC gaming scene within the past 10 years or so, Subnautica. Mm-hmm. It's this unbelievable game, kind of indie game, really sprawling. Think something like Minecraft, but set purely in the ocean and with better graphics and with a more compelling story. Just like an achievement of this development studio. And it's been so well received. It's sold so many copies. So many people have played it, praised it. Everyone loves this game. So of course you have a game that's that successful. You're going to make Subnautica 2, right? Because that's what you do when you have a game that's huge and that you want to continue. You want to give fans more content for. You're going to make a sequel, and that's what they're doing. So Subnautica 2 is in development right now. And the development team is owned by, or they're working with a publisher called Krafton. And Subnautica 2 was slated to, there was at least an early access version that was slated to be released by the end of this year. Mm-hmm. And the development studio had an agreement with the publisher that if they sold a certain amount of copies of Subnautica 2 by the end of 2025, it would trigger a $250 million bonus payout for the development studio that wouldn't just go to, the executives or whatever. It was going to be spread to the entire development team. Incredible, awesome. So they're on track to put out the early access version that almost certainly would have hit that sales number that they had targeted if they put it out. And the publisher, Krafton, pulled the carpet out from under them, said, nope, we're not going to put the early access out this year anymore. So there's this whole big, very public drama happening right now around the development team, around the publisher. And it's so messy, and it's just so sad to see around an IP that's so universally loved like Subnautica.
Yeah, there's lawsuits going around, so Ben and I can't like speak as if like we know everything that's going on, you
Yeah.
know, and it's all alleged or whatever.
Yeah,
But
everything I just said was alleged.
everything that he just said is alleged, so we won't get involved in that. But it is a crazy story. It's a lot of public drama, like you said, which sucks to have like that revolving such a beloved game. And honestly, again, I'm not saying anything, but early access games can be so successful.
Yeah.
Subnautica is one end of the spectrum, but think about No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was released. It didn't really work that well. And after like, I don't know, 2 years or so of like the developers not giving up on the game and like making it better and better and better and fixing all the issues with it, now it's one of the most played games. People love No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Think about Hades 2. Hades 2 and Hades were on early access for so long. People bought them, played them, gave the developers all of their feedback of how, sorry, that's my cat if you can hear that, how great this game is, gave them the feedback of like how they can make it better. And then Hades won Game of the Year in 2020. In Hades 2, I'm sure will be up there. You know, Baldur's Gate 3, again, more early access. Like early access works, demos work. This idea of putting out games that are quote unquote unfinished, but they can still be playable and they can like provide something to the fans and the fans can provide something back is a amazing relationship that I think should be encouraged more, especially AAA. I'm not a gaming journalist. I don't know what the background like AAA contracts look like between developers, between sponsors, between publishers, between everything. I'm sure it's really complicated and it's not as easy as we think. But early access makes sense. It works. And it probably gives you a little bit of a safety blanket if you put out a product that isn't super polished, as so many AAA games are. So to me, the delaying of a game that is seemingly playable and that everyone in the development studio is saying that can be put out and it can be playable, and then you pull the rug out of that, makes no sense to me. So obviously, you know what I think about the whole situation. I'm not going to say it into words, but it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All those examples you just gave, those are all examples of early access done right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's also examples of early access not done right. There's games that people just put out in totally unfinished states that they don't
states, really.
That they don't even really intend to make in a playable state, but they just put it out, they slap the early access title on it, and people buy it, and you know, you get what you pay for. So that's, I think like you said, so many examples of early access done right. But in just like a more general sense, this like push and pull between the creatives and like the corporate side of gaming, it's just so unfortunate. Like it reminds me of Disco Elysium when we played that. Another example of a corporate entity that owns this incredible IP that's so well received, that's universally loved by fans, that fans are clamoring to give their money to. We want to give you more money for more content in this universe, in this genre. And the corpos are so short-sighted that they just cannot, they strangle and kill the golden goose for its meat, and they just cannot even give any like amount of time for these creative people to actually work with their IP that they've lovingly created and to make more money probably in the long run. So that's kind of one of the unfortunate parts of the industry, and it's a tale that we've kind of heard many times by now, unfortunately.
Buenale Games says down with the corpos. You heard it here first in 2025. I completely agree, Ben. And I know that we're ending the episode today on like a weird note, but that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listen to the checkpoint in July 2025. We are VGBC. We love talking about games. We love recapping games, talking about the stories of games, talking about game mechanics, and playing games alongside of our community every single month. So check us out. We're going to be talking in 2 weeks about Hellblade, Sennua's Sacrifice, our game of the month, chosen by our community, actually, which is really, really exciting that we have that going on. Ben, do you have anything else that you want to say to the peoples?
No, just join the club if you like us, if you like our content. First of all, give us a like, give us a subscription. Follow us on our socials, all that good stuff. That's all really helpful to us. And then yeah, join the club, join the Discord. That's where I think JP and I get the most enjoyment and satisfaction out of this is meeting people, having these fun conversations, playing games with people, and building these connections, around a mutual love of gaming and playing games. So yeah, join the club.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Join the club. That will do it for us today. Please keep an eye out for 2 weeks' time for Hellblade Sennua Sacrifice Video Game Book Club. What is it? July 2025. Yes, I know the month that we're in. Thank you so much. Bye.